St Michael of Belfrey Church is the beautiful, iconic church building strategically situated next door to York Minster, in the heart of the ancient city of York.
It is home of the Belfrey, a vibrant community of followers of Jesus who are passionate about seeing God's kingdom come in the north as it is in heaven.
Like most historic buildings, the site and shape of St Michael of Belfrey Church has evolved over the years. It has rarely stayed the same for a long time. Rather, it's adapted and evolved according to needs.
In the year 627 AD, Bishop Paulinus baptised King Edwin of Northumbria in York, probably somewhere around here. That was a crucial event, precipitating the development of the Christian faith in our nation. Soon after that, an early medieval church was built close to here, making York a key centre of worship of Jesus Christ. That became the first cathedral, which is now known as York Minster.
Around the year 1250, St Michael of Belfrey Church was constructed and dedicated to the Archangel Michael. The title clearly shows a French influence, with the name literally meaning St Michael the Fortified Watchtower. Whilst there are various views about why it was given such a name and why it was built so close to York Minster, we don't know the answer to either question for sure. What we do know is that St Michael of Belfrey Church was built of stone and that it was added to and adjusted to over time.
By the early 1500s, the church built in 1250 was in a poor state. And so in 1525, the new building was begun. This building. It was finished in 1537. It reused parts of the old building, including on the east side some of the stone and some of the lovely 14th century stained glass. This new building was beautifully and carefully crafted by master mason John Foreman. The design was simple, symmetrical and uncluttered. There were no pews except for some freestanding benches, some of which we still have.
Just before the English Civil War in 1635, the bell was cast by renowned local bellmaker William Oldfield. It was recast again in 1883, and it would call people to worship or let them know of important events happening in the city.
A few pieces have been added inside St Michael of Belfrey Church since then. John Etty, the acclaimed York architect craftsman, designed the Georgian reredos at the front of church, with its four fluted Corinthian columns and communion rails. This work was completed by his son, the famous William Etty, and installed in 1712 at the cost of £68.
In 1756, the roof was recovered. It's been patched up a few times since then, but much of the same lead work still remains. Some 250 years later, it's time for a new roof.
The church ceiling, as it is now, was created in 1766 at a cost of £24 and was blue, probably painted with gold stars. That was to help us look up and think of the grandeur and creativity of God and the beauty of his heavens.
Then in 1785, under the long ministry of William Richardson, the gallery was installed, with an organ in the middle. This reflected a change in worship style and the greater emphasis on preaching from the Bible. The gallery helped accommodate the bigger congregations who came to hear excellent preaching and teaching. Further development took place in the 1800s. So in 1853, the church was given a new floor and it was reseated with the pews that are presently in place. The cost of both was £1,226.
In 1887, the new West End frontage was added, designed by architect George Fowler Jones. Then in 1885, the organ was moved from the balcony down to the chancel after some repairs were made to the chancel area. This represented a further shift in worship styles, influenced by the Oxford movement of the day, which encouraged a more formal, choir-led and liturgical style of worship. Further stonework was done in 1890.
As we move into the 20th century, St Michael of Belfrey Church was listed Grade 1 in 1954, and in 1959 the stained glass was renewed and repositioned by renowned stained glass expert and member of St Michael of Belfrey, Peter Gibson, along with Eric Milner White, the Dean of York.
In the early 1970s, the growing community of St Cuthbert's Church in York, under the leadership of evangelist David Watson, planted into and joined the small community of worshippers at St Michael le Belfrey Church.
During these years that followed, the church experienced the renewal of God's Spirit and the building was changed to make a more flexible space. In 1973 to 78, the choir stalls were removed, the pulpit and communion table removed, and baptism was made easier by a portable font. Finally, and very importantly, a second toilet was added in 1994 for our convenience.
Now, in these early years of the 21st century, God is calling the community of the Belfry to initiate major works on St Michael le Belfrey Church again. Whilst there were a few minor things done to the building in the 20th century, nothing of substance has happened since the gallery, and then new frontage was added in the 19th century.
Today, the people of the Belfry have a vision to be serving God's transformation of the North. As we do that through making disciples, nurturing disciples, developing leaders and planting churches, so we need a building fit for purpose. That's why it's time. It's time for reordering.